And Dr. Michael Carome is in the studio with me. I'm very pleased to have you with us. He is the director of Public Citizens Health Research Group. The website, of course, citizen.org/HRG, as in Health Research Group.
Right.
Dr. Carome, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You wrote an interesting article, Outrage of the Month, Industry Lawsuit Threatens FDA's Regulation of Drugs. Tell us about this.
This is a lawsuit that was filed by a drug company called Pharma, or Amarin, and they have, in early May, filed suit against the FDA, arguing that FDA regulations regarding promotion of drugs violates their First Amendment rights. And this relates to a specific single drug. The company actually only makes one drug called Vasipa, which is already approved for one use. It's approved for a very narrow population of people who have very, very high levels of a type of fat in the blood called triglycerides.
Mm-hmm.
And that was approved for that use by the FDA in 2012. In 2013, the company applied to the FDA for another use. They wanted to expand the population for whom they could market the drug to people with lower levels of fat in the blood, lower levels of triglyceride, who had either heart disease or were at high risk of coronary heart disease. They submitted all the evidence to the FDA. Independent scientists at the FDA reviewed that, and the FDA turned down that approval because it didn't meet their evidence standard for showing safety and effectiveness for that use. So now the company, having been turned down, they're now turning around, trying to bypass the FDA approval process, and they want to have the court say, we can go ahead and provide the description of our evidence that this drug can be used to treat people with lower triglyceride levels, and essentially promote it for off-label uses, which is currently an illegal activity.
Right. So a pharmaceutical company, and we're pretty much alone in the developed world in even allowing pharmaceutical companies to directly sell prescription drugs to consumers via things like television advertising. But nonetheless, when they do, not only do they have to disclose in some small ways some of the side effects, but they also cannot promote the drug for anything other than for which it is approved. We were talking last night. I mentioned this anti-diabetes drug that has a side effect of causing people to lose weight, and it seems to me like they're dancing around the edge of promoting it as a weight loss drug, as well as an anti-diabetes drug, by saying, oh, and one of the side effects is you might lose weight. That's very desirable to a lot of people. But this is like way beyond that. This is just blowing past the FDA. This is saying the First Amendment says that there really shouldn't be a Food and Drug Administration. Is it not?
Yeah, it really would fundamentally undermine our system for protecting people from unsafe and ineffective drugs that have been in place for more than 5 decades.
Yeah.
And
do you think this could make it to the Supreme Court? I guarantee you Scalia and Alito would go for it. I mean, and Thomas. I don't know about Kennedy, but this is the kind of libertarian argument stuff that, I mean, this is what the court, this is the kind of stuff that the court was knocking down in the early 30s, you know, before 37, or all the way back to the slaughterhouse cases, in fact.
Absolutely. Could this go to the Supreme Court? Certainly, depending upon how it goes at various levels and who appeals. I think, in our view, commercial speech rights are not without limits. There has always been what we would call a balancing test between free speech rights and the public interest in protecting and restricting speech in order to protect other interests. So here we have the company asserting its free speech rights to promote its drug for various uses, but the government and the public has an interest in protecting the public from marketing of drugs that have not been shown to be safe and effective for the proposed uses. And that is a fundamental interest. And if it is undermined by this case prevailing, by the company winning this suit, that would fundamentally threaten public health in many ways. This
is a real frontal attack. I mean, this is a major frontal attack. But isn't there a whole lot of kind of camel's nose under the tent going on with, for example, I've had two friends of mine who are physicians over the last 4 or 5 years who have just commented to me that drug reps are coming in and promoting off-label uses. You know, just in the office, they're saying, "Oh, by the way, you know, you can use this for this. I can't officially tell you that. literature doesn't say that, but a lot of our docs are finding really, really good results using, I don't know, Viagra for high blood pressure or high blood pressure drugs for erectile dysfunction. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm mixing, but is that actually going on?
Absolutely. For decades, just about every drug company has engaged in varying degrees in off-label promotion, and that's a violation of the law. It's called misbranding. You're just not allowed to do that. We actually compiled data from 1991 through 2012, looking at all the violations and settlements, civil and criminal settlements between the federal government and state governments for various violations by drug companies. Over that 22-year period, $30 billion in fines were paid, and these were for awards of $1 million or more. And one of the most frequent reasons for which those fines were paid was because of off-label promotion, particularly for the largest suits. I mean, there were suits totaling fines totaling $1 billion to $3 billion, and in all cases, off-label promotion was one of the main reasons for the penalty.
And the drug companies have to know going into this that they could be hit with $1 billion fine, which means that they're probably making a $5 billion profit, and this is just a cost of doing business. Or is this actually hurting them?
I think this is for companies. This is just a price of doing business. They have blockbuster drugs. They make many more billions of dollars than they're being fined for, and so they sort of build that into their business model.
Yeah. So what, as Americans, as voters, as citizens, as people who would like to know that if we're told this drug will cure you of X, and we have X, that it actually does, as opposed to, it just, being at the mercy of the snake oil salesman, what do we do?
There are several things that can be done. One is to not rely upon information provided by the drug companies, to be completely skeptical about whatever advertising you see.
Even the official stuff.
Even the official stuff. And to go for independent sources. So we maintain a website where we do independent reviews of drugs.
What's that website?
It's worstpills.org.
Worstpills, W-O-R-S-T?
Pills.org. And we rate drugs for their safety and effectiveness, and we categorize some drugs as do not use. Despite the fact that FDA has approved them, that you just should not use them because the risks, we feel, do not outweigh the benefits, and there are always alternatives.
Wow, that's remarkable. Are you a physician or?
I'm a physician, internal medicine, kidney specialist.
In private practice as well? I mean, you have a clinical practice?
I do not now. I practiced actually in the military healthcare system in the U.S. Public Health Service for many years.
Have you had that experience of drug reps coming to you and trying to promote off-label uses?
I certainly, in my training and residency and then in practice, drug reps are constantly walking the halls of the hospitals, paying for lunches, giving you free pens and gifts and various things. And the sole goal of those activities is to get you to prescribe their medicines. Right. Not necessarily because it's in the best interest of your patients.
Right, but because it's in the best interest of the drug companies. It's amazing. And then now we've got this whole meme that we need to deregulate, and the government is the problem, not the solution, and all this kind of thing. And it's almost like we're back in the late 19th century, I'm waiting for the wagon to pull up and the back flap to drop down, and the guy to stand up and, I got the snake oil for you. I mean, this is the era. Dr. Michael Carome, he's the director of Public Citizens Health Research Group, citizen.org/HRG. I'm assuming if people go to citizen.org/HRG, there's some action stuff there too, as well as Worst Pills.
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
Okay, great. Dr. Carome, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It is 15 minutes past the hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
I mean, this is the end result, right, of this whole libertarian conservative ideology of we don't need no stinking government. Just let the corporations run everything.